When you've got powerhouse actors like Maggie Smith, Kathy Bates, and Laura Linney, the chances of getting something great are pretty high. The new Sony Pictures classic film, The Miracle Club, might be arriving in a theater near you, but should you rush to see it? In 1967, three generations of close friends, Lily, Eileen, and Dolly, live in Ballygar, a hard-knocks community in Dublin, and they each have one tantalizing dream: to win a pilgrimage to the sacred French town of Lourdes, the place of miracles that draws millions of visitors each year. When the chance to win presents itself, the women seize it. However, just before their trip, their old friend Chrissie arrives in Ballygar for her mother's funeral, dampening their good mood and well-laid plans, and forcing the women to confront their pasts, even as they travel in search of a miracle. So this movie reminds me a bit of Emilio Estevez's The Way, just in some small aspects. We have a small group who are going on a trek, each for different reasons, and at the end of their journey, they may have developed some growth or understanding in ways they never expected. Now, as I said, this stars Maggie Smith, Kathy Bates, and Laura Linney, and the three of them just knock it out of the park when it comes to their performances. Maggie Smith as Lily is frail and grief-stricken, but also feisty. Kathy Bates as Eileen is flustered, overworked, and then underappreciated, and then angered by this grudge that she's held for decades. And then Laura Linney as Chrissie comes across as cold, distant, aloof, but also with a sense of self-justification for her demeanor. There's also a great addition to the trio who adds a completely different aspect. Agnes O'Casey plays Dolly, and she's kind, overwhelmed by life, but also desperately seeking a miracle, and mostly always looking for the positive, whether it's in a situation or in people. Dolly's a character that softens the other three. She also brings out their humanity, and through her and her son, the other characters get to show warmth and compassion and even understanding, something they don't typically share when only working as a trio. When the group travels to Lourdes, which houses this beautiful cathedral, the cinematography captures a lot of the beautiful countryside, as well as the grandeur of the cathedral and surrounding area. Now, I do wish that we could have seen even more than what's shown, because not only is it beautiful, but it also helps to establish the length that the group travels by bus. And some of the themes in this film surround forgiveness, independence, and then, of course, miracles. And while the idea of miracles is the driving force for the trip, the story isn't totally focused on that, at least directly. Now, first, with the idea of independence, I love how each of the women are leaving their husbands at home to pretty much fend for themselves, and it's really funny to watch their varying levels of success. Now, because it's 1967, the women are expected to do everything, including wait on the man and be at their beck and call. And when the wives go on their trip, a whole new level of appreciation is gained by the men as they just fumble through chores and tasks that they completely take for granted. Now, these situations provide some minor humor, but the story is never really laughing at the men, just the situation, and then gives them the opportunity to rise to the occasion and take on more responsibility. And that's also where the independence theme intertwines. The women are taking steps towards their own independence, not as in abandoning their families, but taking strides to gain their own identities and pursue things that interest them. This also allows the characters to grow, breaking free of the constraints that they've lived with for so long. And then there's the largest theme that's really the catalyst for the entire plot and complication, and it's the idea of forgiveness. When Laura Linney's character Chrissie returns home after being gone for 40 years, there is this monster-sized wall of hurt and anger that has to be overcome. And not just by Chrissie, but by Lily and Eileen too. And this is where the story shines best and captures the most amount of heart. There are devastating conversations that take place, and each actor emotes in palpable ways, allowing us to feel their deep emotions. Now, I also like that it's not just one conversation and then everything could be resolved. There are small steps forward and then some back as they progress towards a resolution. Now, with that said, though, the story as a whole, it feels kind of rushed, like it's skipping chunks of interactions and moments between characters that would emotionally resonate and then make each of the journeys and growth more tangible and earned. And it's not like the scenes don't make any sense, and we are able to fill in the gaps. It's just that I would have preferred more time with each character as they work through issues, which would then allow us to become more invested in each one of them and gain a better understanding of their positions. Now, I think this is especially true between Kathy Bates and Laura Linney. We learn of their dynamic, but the tension between the two in the present, it feels a little overblown for what we know occurred. And there's opportunity to flesh out more of each dynamic, to dive into how each other's actions and mindsets affect the other. And to some degree, we do get that. There are some wonderful moments between Maggie Smith and Laura Linney, where they have meaningful and deeply emotional conversations, sharing hurts and truths. But then with other characters, they're more surfacey or maybe just not explored as deeply. And there's also an opportunity to utilize Laura Linney more. Now, she is a tremendous actress and has some excellent moments here, but she also feels like some of her oomph is just being stunted, or maybe it was cut, because she certainly has the emotional range to provide a devastating performance. We just don't see it. She hedges at that as she confronts her anger and her hurt, but the scenes never fully commit, leaving some of her resolutions to feel unearned or maybe just come about too abruptly. Now, this is only a 90-minute movie, so it's definitely on the shorter side. I think if they could have added 15 more minutes of just maybe some content that I had been describing, as a result, that would have created a more engaging and moving drama. I mean, it's still an okay movie. Story of friendship and restoration. It can be inspiring. And there are some humorous scenes that interwoven with the drama to vary the tone, even if the emotional impact isn't fully realized. So overall, The Miracle Club brings together three powerhouse actors, but doesn't fully take advantage of their collective talent. Examination of the themes of forgiveness and miracles set the emotional stage, but the film doesn't allow the story to reach its impassioned potential. This is good as a casual watch and will most likely appeal to an older crowd, but there is enough here to be enjoyed by all, provided you're in the mood for a somber drama. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, not really any violence. I give The Miracle Club 3 out of 5 couches. So have you seen any moving dramas lately? Let me know what you watched in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.